Welcome to The Shift, the podcast that empowers you to make a change in your life and chase your dreams with passion and purpose. If you are tired of feeling stuck in a life that doesn't fulfill you, if you have big dreams and ambitions but struggle to turn them into reality, if you want to break free from self-doubt and limited beliefs, join us every week to listen to inspiring stories from regular people just like you, actionable insights, and the motivation you need to make the shift towards your own dreams. And please don't forget to share, subscribe, and leave us a review to help spread the message and inspire others.
Hey guys, welcome back to the next episode of the podcast, The Shift, Build Your Life on Your Own Terms. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome today our distinguished guest. He is a business owner, he is a serial entrepreneur in the food tech, defense, and AG tech industries. He also a former Marine Corps aircraft rescue firefighter, and he served in multiple countries. He's a co-founder of the company Green, a food tech company specializing in plant-based supplement powders. And additionally, he serves as a board member of Love Hope Ranch, a nonprofit organization using equine therapy to heal invisible wounds. So that's kind of interesting, and we can probably talk about it as well. The invisible wounds. That's awesome. Guys, please give a warm welcome to our guest, who is passionate about helping other people and promoting a healthy lifestyle. Joshua, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me, Eugene.
Amazing, man. Your resume is absolutely stunning. Just to give a quick background, Joshua and I met at a conference in Miami recently at a Fund Launch Live. And, we chatted for a few minutes, kind of hit it off. And he said he said yes to come to my show. It was absolutely amazing. And today, I'm delighted to have him on our show and dive into the conversation that hopefully inspire you guys to take the next steps in your entrepreneurial journey and live the life that you always wanted. Joshua, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
For a lot of people, probably, maybe most people don't know who you are and what you do, where you're from. Why don't you give us a quick intro?
Yeah, thank you for having me again, Eugene. It's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure. So I'm a former United States Marine, a former firefighter in the Marine Corps. After I got out, I was a federal firefighter for a Navy base in South Texas, originally from Austin, Texas. And I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2021 after leaving the fire department. I had made some good investments, I would say, and it basically gave me the freedom to go and pursue my dreams, and that led into Green, Lifted Supply, becoming a board member of Love Hope Ranch, and now starting a real estate fund for veterans. So it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, man, that's very interesting. So what I'd like to ask my guests is how it all began, right? How it all began, how it all started. And if you go back to that moment of your life when you started entrepreneurial journey, give us a quick rundown on what inspired you to pursue it and how did you actually get started?
Yeah, so after I got out of the Marine Corps, I was looking for purpose again, and I decided to take my skills that I had learned in the Marine Corps and just apply those in the civilian world, and that led to DoD firefighting, which at the time I thought that was going to be the rest of my life, right? And after getting into the fire department and being there for a few years, it was apparent to me that I needed more in my life. And I was searching for a higher meaning to my life. And through searching myself and learning more and more about myself, I realized that I didn't want to just help one or two people on this call or that call. I mean, we were an aircraft fire department, so a lot of times it's waiting for aircraft to crash. And on base, if you're running to a call, it's most likely not something that you're actually responding to helping somebody. So I just felt a lack of purpose, even at a fire department, right? And I'm someone that's very motivated to better myself. And at that department, I just didn't feel like I had the opportunity to do that in the way that I wanted to do that. Secondly, I had always been working for the government. So I never had a time in my life where I was able to explore who I was, right? I was always a sergeant. I had joined at 18 years old, and I was off to boot camp right after high school. So I was able to get the discipline, the leadership, some of these different intangibles that the military does give you, but I was lacking my self-identity and individualization, right? And during the time at the fire department, I was very lucky to have time to be able to work on myself. And I was looking for different ways to eventually lead the fire department. During this time, I was trading stocks, I was studying finance, and I eventually started studying how to invest in crypto and all of that. And during that time in 2021, I had made a couple investments, and I was investing up 80% of my money at that time. I mean, no bills, single. My car was a 2012 Camry, so I always set myself up to be able to have decisions later on in life. And I always wanted to just have those doors available for me to go through if the time came, because I had no idea what the future was hold, but I knew that I was in a good position to be able to leap from. So during that time, like I said, I made some investments, and I hit on a couple of those, and I was like, all right, so my time is nearing for me to leave the fire department. And for me, I didn't want to leave and have an availability to come back. Like I didn't want to just be like, all right, if I fail, I'll just come back to the fire department and everything's going to be okay. At that time, my mental health was really suffering. And to many people, it was like, they're like, dude, you got the dream job. You don't do a lot all the time at work. You're cooking meals with the guys and working out and playing with big fire trucks, right? Shooting big water cannons and stuff. So at a level, it was very fun. But I needed something else. I needed to explore what else was out there, right? So I came up with this idea like, hey, I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I have some money in the bank now, and I'm going to start an online marketing company. My first company I started was Waterloo Marketing. And once I had the LLC set up and I had my plan and I had done some studying, there was one day at work that I just decided to pack all of my things. I didn't give it 2 weeks. I put all my stuff in my car.
Wow.
And I knocked on my chief's door at 10 o'clock at night, and I said, hey, chief, I'm out. He's like, what do you mean? You sick? He said, are you sick? And I was like, no, I got to go follow my dreams. And I don't know what it is, but God got something for me. And I know that The Rock puts it, like, the world's going to hear from me. And I had to burn those ships because I never wanted access back to the fire department. But even after saying all that and having that conversation with him, he said, well, if you ever want to come back, let me know. And I was like, you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to say that. So, oh, man. But that moment in my life, it was incredible, really. It was, oh, man. I got in my car and
Hey y'all, just a quick interruption. Would love to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Y2 Capital Group Debt Fund. With so much uncertainty, Y2 Capital Group Debt Fund was created to give accredited private investors a peace of mind. It helps investors to park their money short and long term, has 90-day liquidity, no management fees, keep investors' money safe and secure, provides stable high yield returns of 7 to 10% annually, depending on the investment size, and compounds investors' interest rate on a monthly basis. Just FYI, Y2 Capital Group doesn't accept everyone. The best way to see if this is the right match between you and Y2 Capital Group is to jump on a discovery call. The link to book a call is provided down below in our show notes. And back to our episode.
I got in my car and I just started calling everybody, and I was like, oh my God, yeah. Calling my buddies, calling family. And it just felt like for the first time in my adult life that I was actually living life on my terms. And in my mind, I was like, whatever happens. I gave it to God, and I said, just get out there and give it all you got, because I had this feeling that I didn't know exactly what I was capable of. But when you put your back against the wall, you find out what you're made of, and you find out that you can go a lot further than you ever thought possible. And a lot of the things that are holding us back are complete bullcrap. It's all bullcrap. It's like, you think about it, it's like, is that the logical decision to make? It's like, well, God's not logical. He does things that we can't understand. I mean, he has a plan for you, and if you search inside yourself, you can hear him talking to you. He's like, go for it. And I just decided to trust that voice, and I went for it and started Waterloo Marketing, and that was it. I got started on my entrepreneurial journey.
That's amazing, man. So you came to achieve. You basically quit cold turkey, right? Mm-hmm. You sat in your car and you just called everyone saying like, I quit. I'm gonna go follow my dreams. Not a lot of people do that. And you also mentioned an interesting phrase. You can see what you're made of if you're back against the wall. And it did seem like you put your back against the wall, basically yourself, right? So that was your decision. It's not something that happened to you where you ended up against the wall, right? So I found this very interesting, because this does feel like an uncomfortable situation you're putting yourself into on purpose, right? And probably your job when you were a firefighter maybe made you a little bit stronger and tougher, right? So you can kind of meet all the challenges head on, if you will. So I found it very interesting, because not a lot of people would do it to themselves. if you will. Let's talk about your next step, right? So you quit, you decided to open your online marketing shop. What were the first challenges and obstacles that you saw in your journey, and what did it result to?
Yeah, so it was a tremendous learning curve. And I had built a lot of discipline, just even whatever, the Marine Corps, that's fine. But being at the fire department, I was going to school full time at the same time, doing work while I was at work. And I was taking 3 summer courses full time right before that I'd left. And that really helped me build the discipline necessary to learn what I needed to learn. And really, I hear a lot of entrepreneurs say that you need to learn fast. And I totally agree with that. And coming from somebody that my only knowledge was how to put the wet stuff on the hot stuff for 10 years, and then very limited college experience, I was able to learn very fast. And I found that when you put in the time and you're very disciplined and focused with that time, you can put the things together fairly quickly. And Waterloo marketing ended up not being what I wanted to do, right? And that tenure was about 3 months of my life. And then I found Maxine's microgreens, and that led into Revo Green. So I knew that I wanted to be a business owner, and I thought that marketing was what I wanted to do. Ended up not being what I wanted to do, but that's okay because it led into everything that I'm doing now. So when I started Waterloo Marketing, I think really the best thing that I did when I started that was really being honest with myself and like, all right, what are you going to market, right? That was a big hurdle for me, like figuring out what you're going to market and what the dollars look like when you're marketing those specific products. So I was like, I really had to search myself, and I was like, what do I really want, right? And it was organic product marketing. That's what I came up with. I just wanted to market products that did good in our communities and really helped people be healthy and present in the world. And I was very passionate about that at the time, and still am, because I went through my own struggles with depression and anxiety when I left the Marine Corps and during my time in the fire department. And one of the biggest things that helped me get through that depression was my nutrition. It was getting that on track and helping myself get focused and feeling motivated, finding that purpose again. The health, health is wealth. It's very cliche to say, but if you're going to be an entrepreneur or do anything high performance, you have to get your health right first before you can even reach the level to the levels you can't even see, right? That's going to help you get there the fastest, and it's going to help stabilize your mood to be able to be focused and do those things. So I settled on organic product marketing, and I was looking for clients. And at that time, I had met my partner Brandon at the time, and his company at the time was Maxine's Microgreens. And my conversation with him was, hey, do you need marketing? I was doing some market research, talking to different businesses to see what the need was. And I ended up finding out that there wasn't really a huge need for it. And the businesses that were selling these organic products, if I'm doing 30 businesses, it wasn't going to be a profitable business for the time spent. Right. So after speaking with Brandon on that, I asked him, I was like, hey, do you mind if I come sell your microgreens at the farmers markets for free? He's like, nah, man, I got to pay you something. So we ended up on like $200 a farmer's market, right? Or whatever the percentage was. And I went to the farmer's market, and I started selling these freaking microgreens, and I really just fell in love with selling and having that human interaction with people and seeing their smiles on their faces when they'd eat the sunflower, or we had these mustards, they taste like wasabi. It was very fun. It was very fun. And I found something that I was naturally pretty good at, and it was just super fun. So I started doing that, and our relationship grew from there. And we decided, he was like, hey, you want to be my partner on this? And I was like, yeah, am I going to do this marketing thing? Am I not? And I just decided, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do this microgreen thing. I'm having too much fun doing this. And I see myself being someone that can really get out there and change people's lives with nutrition through the means of selling microgreens. So that was how I got on board with Maxine's Microgreens. And down the road, we ended up rebranding from a raw greens company to a supplement powders company, and also an ag tech company using these microgreens. So you never know what you're going to get into once you start. You just got to get out there and see where your path leads, because you meet people, you have lucky experiences, and things just kind of happen organically that you can't really plan for in the end. So that was pretty much how I got my start.
That's amazing, man. That is amazing. And guys, I think these are the gold nuggets that Joshua was just dropping. I think a few things to note. So number one, if you want to start something, just go ahead and start something. So it doesn't mean you're going to end up doing what you started with. So it may lead you to something else. So, and get your health first, right? Get your health first, because your health is basically number one priority, because without health, you may not be able to do anything else. So that's amazing, man. I mean, that's amazing. And have you been doing something at that time when your partner Brandon asked you to be a partner?
So at that time, I was still pursuing the marketing company, and I was still dabbling in that, but I really hadn't had any success. And a big part of that was my heart just wasn't 100% in it. And my heart was with Maxine's Microgreens. So I decided to follow that intuition.
Got it. And what made you decide to open the online marketing company first? Was it something that you were familiar with, or like, how did you end up on that? How did you end up doing that first step?
Right. Yeah. I was really I'm a big YouTube guy, so I'm always learning something on YouTube. And I had found, a couple guys that were selling courses on starting online marketing businesses and how profitable they could be, but also like how much good you can do for multiple people and multiple businesses. So the biggest thing for me was like, hey, I could not just help my business, I can help 20 different businesses with a marketing company. And then also from there, like these different marketing companies, you can do trainings and stuff and help the employees. So there was a lot of different things in there that I could see myself doing. Just, you don't really know if you like it until you're in it. So, but to answer your question, I didn't have any experience at all. Like I was still in like entry-level college courses, like doing History 1, out of calculus, stuff like that. So all the knowledge that I have on business was literally from watching YouTube. I was taking all the Google ad courses and stuff like that. Like I had a whole notebook full of like all these courses. I'd write down like every slide. So it was really just a lot of it was about self-discovery, and it was very exciting at the time and very fruitful in the outcome as far as what ended up happening.
That's awesome. You sound like all the turns that you took so far led you to basically to the life that you always wanted. But you didn't get to this step right away. So you had some intermediate steps that you took without knowing that it will lead you to where you're at right now. So that's pretty cool. And I think this is what entrepreneurial journey is all about, right? It's a journey of, like you said, of discovering yourself. Not only discovering yourself, but discovering of what you're made of, and discovering your true passion and your true purpose. So that's super cool. And I wanted to ask you a question. If you feel like not answering, that's also cool. But going back to the moment of you being depressed, your experienced mental health, was it related to your entrepreneurial journey, or was it something else? It's okay if you don't want to answer.
No. Not my depression was due to my employment journey, not my entrepreneurial journey. And I say that it's exiting the military is very difficult mentally. And most veterans will say it's kicking the nuts, and it really is. It's, you lose your whole identity, you lose your purpose. And one of the things that as human beings we strive for is to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And all that in a signature on a piece of paper, DD-214, is taken away. And then you're back home, and now you're just another guy, right? So it's very difficult for your brain to understand that on a subconscious level, because you're used to these different things that keep you in this mindset, right? That's the best way I can put it, is that the mindset is totally different. You're told what to wear, you're told where to be, you're giving housing, you're given food, right? And when you get out, none of that's the same. So it was figuring out how to be my best self when I got out, and not fall in some of the traps that unfortunately a lot of us veterans do fall into. So this entrepreneurial journey, I mean, quite the opposite. I mean, it's I'm living my dream right now, and I couldn't be in a better spot.
Yeah. And I totally understand how you feel, because this war stuff can either make or break you, right? And it's just amazing, like, that you were able to live through that and come out on the other side. So that's amazing, brother. What I wanted to ask you is, like, through everything that you believe, like, through your entrepreneurial journey, do you have any defining moments or breakthroughs during your early entrepreneurship that significantly shaped the trajectory of your journey? And what those were?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of them was, I was out in a farmer's market in Dripping Springs, which is kind of out in the country, in the hill country of Austin. And at the time I had asked Brandon, hey, I don't want to be paid anymore. This is really just an experience for me right now, and I'm still figuring out the marketing side. Well, I had a guy come up, and his name was Max, and he came up and he said, hey, you ever think about taking this company to Chile? And I was like, what do you mean?
Chile?
Taking this company to Chile? Yeah, it was yeah, it was not the question I would have ever expected to be asked.
Whoa.
Especially at a very small farmer's market. So he was actually working with an accelerator in Chile called Startup Chile. And when he had said that, I was like, yeah, I was intrigued, but I just I was like, whatever, right? So he started telling me more about it, and I was going to college for international business, and that was like my goal at the time. I wanted to be abroad and live in different countries and make money from my computer and just explore different things. So he suggested the Startup Chile program after I had explained a little bit more about our ag tech system that grew the microgreens, and it really unlocked something in my brain to where I was like, oh, okay, you can play a lot bigger with these things, that there's anything's possible. And yeah, we're just a farmer's market business, right? Not making much money at all, but it was something that, why not just apply, right? So I made a video with my cousin who has a background in film. We did a whole pitch, like it was very cool. I was very nervous to even do the video. I screwed it up probably 1,000 times. If you ever go on YouTube, look up Winnebago Man.
What is it called?
It's called Winnebago Man.
Winnebago Man.
Yeah, it's like an RV, the Winnebago RV, but it's called a Winnebago Man. And basically the guy's like, every scene, he's like, God darn it. He's like cursing every time. That was me. Try to do this video. So my cousin calls me Winnebago Man now, but that for me, it was defining because it helped me think bigger. It opened my mind, and Max ended up being a consultant for us and introduced me to a lot of different things in Austin, like Capital Factory, networking. I had no idea why anybody was networking. I was like, what are we talking about? Your business, I got mine. Cool, dude. So at the time, I had no idea like about really much of anything. I was very green to everything business, but that helped me think bigger. And thank God we didn't get accepted to the program.
Really?
That would have been well, I think a lot of things that don't happen in your life, they don't happen for a reason, right? And we just weren't ready to do something that big. I mean, we're just a small farm market business, but it was cool to go through those steps. Getting up, I think in 2022, I got up on stage and I did a speech to the Fiesta community, which Fiesta is a networking community by Cherie Warner in Austin, and they hold these things at Capital Factory. And even though I was in the Marine Corps and all that stuff, like I was a horrible public speaker. Like I went to public speaking classes and I was like, like I was so bad. I used to mess up like promotion ceremonies, like in front of the whole unit. Like that never happens. Like I'm the only one ever that did that. So it's I actually hired a speaking coach, and I was like, just drill the hell out of me. Like I'm trying to get this thing. I'm trying to get up there and just be confident on stage. I know that if I can have the same confidence, like I'm talking with just one or two people in front of a crowd, I can do very well. So we drilled, and at the time I was going to like 3 different Toastmasters. So every week, 3 different ones, trying to do speeches, all that. So when I finally did that speech, that was a big moment for me, because it was like, all right, you can get up there, you can do this too. It's not a big deal. It's all in your mind. And that's helped me tremendously with my confidence on stage, and even just confidence in being an entrepreneur, because a lot of leadership is getting in front of people, being able to give your vision confidently so they want to follow you and work together in a team. So for me, that was a big moment for sure.
Excellent. Any key points to share from a public speaking coach with us?
Woo. Okay. Yeah. Man, if you really think about it, it's so dumb, like how everybody's scared now in front of other people. It's like, you're not going to no one's going to hurt you, right? The biggest thing, right, is you got to just get up there and do it and do it and do it and do it and do it. And I'm still not perfect. I'm still not the best ever. Like I'm doing all right. I still feel the fear very intensely every time, like every time. So it's really just being able to manage that fear when you're up there. So just know that the fear's not going away. And maybe for some of y'all, maybe y'all better than me, but the fear's probably not going to go away, but you're going to be able to manage it while you're up there. And I think that after failing so many times at it or whatever, quote unquote failing, you get to a place where you're like, screw it, man, what the hell?
Yeah. So what was the audience? How big was the audience?
That one was about 250.
250. That's a pretty good size.
I was like, don't make eye contact. Don't make eye. Like, you're supposed to make eye contact, but that was one of the things. I was like looking over everybody's head. Right?
It's like, hey, you're not listening. What are you doing? Get off your phone. Speaking of failures, do you have any interesting, valuable lessons you learned from your early failures or setbacks as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, failure. I guess failures, it really isn't like a good word, right? These are all things that you're just learning. So you can't expect to be perfect, and you shouldn't strive for that, because you're going to go crazy, right? I think just some good advice would be to make sure that whoever you're partnering with or whatever you're doing, just make sure that everybody has the same vision for the future, and that they want the same things that you do, right? And they're in a position to take the same risks as you're willing to take. So for me, as I go into this new venture, that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, are these people going first have the mission internalized enough, or have that strong compassion for the vision? Are they motivated, right? And are they tenacious? I think tenacity is probably the most important thing. And how fast can they learn? And also being honest with yourself on those three things as well. So if you can have those three things knocked out with you and your partners, you can literally do anything.
Those are very great points. You mentioned just be honest with yourself. Do you have any tips to people on how to be honest with themselves? Because I don't think it's something that a lot of people may do, even though they subconsciously know that they may not be honest, but they still make decisions.
Right.
They still do things or make decisions based on sort of not being honest with themselves, right? Because they know they're not being honest, but they don't want to admit it. Do you have any tips sort of on how to shift that type of thinking?
Right. I think we all know when we're not being honest with ourselves. And it comes down to feeling to think or thinking to feel.
Oh, wow.
If you're feeling to think, then you're going to fail. Straight up. But if you're thinking to feel, then you can make the most logical decision in that time frame. So, for instance, I want to have the body that I want to have. I want to be 175 pounds, right? If I eat this piece of cake, for example, or it's over my macros for the day or whatever, or I said I was going to fast for this long and now I'm about not to. Am I feeling to think or thinking to feel, right? I'm having a feeling from my body to eat this piece of cake. But if I think to feel, I'm thinking about how that's going to take me away from my goal. Right? So that would be my best advice on that.
Yeah, write this down, guys. That's I haven't heard about this before. So that's a great gold nugget right there. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem. Still working on that. Still working, guys. I'm with y'all.
Oh yeah. So going slightly back and reflecting on your early experiences, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are just starting out?
Don't get caught in the quicksand. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are unhappy because they put themselves in a position where they cannot be successful on purpose. If they're doing it logically or if they're doing it subconsciously. I mean, there's so many different traps in this world. How many different, every day you turn on the TV, buy this liability, buy that liability, buy this liability. Every one of those things is going to enslave you to a life of unhappiness. And one of the golden nuggets that my parents gave me was always keep your options open. Keep those doors open. Don't pigeonhole yourself into one thing, because you might 5 years down the road not want to do that anymore. And if you're stuck in the quicksand, man, I mean, what a hell. What a hell. It's like, don't put yourself in that position where your life is comfortable, but your mind is a living hell. And I mean, just for example, I had the quote unquote best job ever. Like straight up. I played with big trucks, shot water guns on trucks, got to be a firefighter, do cool stuff. I got to cook steaks every time I was at work. Half my time I was at work, I was sleeping. I got to go to full-time college at work, right? And I still wasn't fulfilled because that wasn't what God put me here to do. And a lot of people ignore that voice, ignore that whisper, and they end up just putting themselves in comfort. And in the quicksand, it is comfortable. But man, the farther you sink, the farther you keep going down, it's eventually going to cover your face and you're dead. And that's it. So don't put yourself in positions where you cannot succeed, or the probability is just very, very low. So I would say that, but then also just figure out what you want and just be honest about what you want. And then literally just one night, like an hour, just be like, all right, you probably already know what you want and it's going to take some sacrifices and whatever, right? So you're going to say what you want, and then you're going to put, all right, what are 3 things I can do to get closer to that goal?
Yeah.
Right? And just start with something like that. Don't make it too crazy, because it is very hard changing your life. I don't think anybody's going to say it's easy, but I would say it's very mentally hard. So just get some on paper and just go from there and just see where it takes you.
Cool. That's a great advice right there, guys. I would encourage you, if you still haven't started taking notes, please do. Or you can always rewind back and listen to this episode again. So speaking of sacrifices, what sacrifices did you have to make to pursue your entrepreneurial dreams?
Everything I was doing before. Everything. I mean, let's do some easy ones. I mean, I never had a nice car or whatever that's supposed to mean. I mean, I got a 2012 Toyota Camry 4-cylinder because I looked up a bunch of videos and what's going to be the car that I never have to work on, and that eventually when I'm older I can have something else. So I sacrificed having the big truck or the Jeep or the whatever. I sacrificed having like the super nice apartment, right? I sacrificed going out every weekend. I sacrificed hanging out with my friends all the time. I sacrificed video games. And there will be time I play in the future, but I guess the best point to say is these are only temporary sacrifices until you reach milestones, and then you can have things in moderation, right? But if they're controlling your life, like a lot of these things were controlling mine, I had to get rid of them completely. So I had to get rid of that. I had to get rid of watching any TV, all TV gone. I had to sacrifice time. I had to sacrifice literally every single dime that I had. So these are real things. But the thing is too, it's like these things, once you sacrifice them for what you really want, you realize how little they really meant, right? And you realize that what your purpose that you're put here to do, that's a high that nothing can replace. Nothing. I mean, it's so addictive, just being on your journey. It's so addictive being with God, right? It's so addictive reaching these different milestones, because what were we put here to do? We were put here to achieve things as human beings and help each other. That's literally it. So whatever you find that you want to do in life, how is it helping other people? And I guarantee you'll find peace of mind.
That's amazing. What a great advice. To tell you the truth, it's not really easy what Josh is talking about, right? It's to make this type of sacrifices, you guys, you have to really turn 180 degrees. And it's just stepping out from the comfortable zone to uncomfortable zone, which also may not be comfortable for a lot of people. So it seems very easy. It's very simple. I would say it's very simple, but it's not easy. Let's put it this way, right? And
Right.
So, and to make these type of sacrifices, I would say you kind of need to put yourself out there and find a community of like-minded people, right? To be around,
Right.
to change your mindset, and to make your new beliefs a reality. And where I'm going with this is, my next question to you is, how did you establish a support system or find a community of like-minded individuals when you were just started out?
Well, I talked about how I didn't know what networking was for, but that was, I quickly found out that that was a place that I could find like-minded people, a support network. And I've met so many amazing people, especially being from Austin. It's such a small city, and there's a very high condensed amount of entrepreneurs and people doing cool stuff. I mean, that is so important to have people around you that are actively pursuing something with their lives, that their lives don't entail just sitting on the couch, drinking beer, watch football. It's, hey, this is my goal and this is how I'm getting there. And then you find things that you can do together, like, I don't know, events, brainstorm on stuff, go to different networking events together. It's really a lot more fun than it may sound. And you end up liking it so much that even the alternative, like just the regular stuff, like just going to the bar, right? That stuff is just like, oh man, I don't want to do it ever. Like, I'd rather go to a networking event and talk to people who are doing cool stuff. So once you get out there, a lot of these things just kind of happen organically, and you don't realize it, but your subconscious is taking notes all the time. And you get around these people and you hear this idea, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you find people that maybe you end up doing business with, or you partner on something, or They got like an investment opportunity that could literally change you and your family's life. Just like the fun launch that me and you met at. I mean, how awesome was that? We got to see these amazing speakers, people making big money, right? Doing big stuff. And the networking has been one of my favorite things about this journey. I mean, it's been totally fun and exciting and all of the above. So definitely get out there, make some friends. Even if you're introverted, it's just like, whatever. We're all introverted. It's 2023. We're all like, whatever. We're on our phones in our house. Just get out there. Come on.
Yep. Let's go, guys. Let's get it. It's face-to-face networking is definitely, I found it a much better experience than just sitting in a Zoom, talking to people through the Zoom. But it's also great, right? Don't get me wrong. But I think your face-to-face experiences it's just more about you building trust more. You build reports faster. You can see people like who is who, right? And it's just amazing all around. And by talking to people face to face I don't know how to express it, but it's just a completely different, I would say, I mean, at least to me, fulfilling experience that I'm looking forward to every time I go to conferences. It's amazing all around. I completely agree. But hey, Josh, I know we're cutting close to our time. So I have a last round of questions that I want to ask you. So this is going to be the round that is called Moment of Truth, right? So I'll have about 5-6 questions. I'll shoot a question. You'll give an answer very fast. Don't think too fast. Okay?
All right.
So it's going to be
all right.
blitz. Okay. Question, answer. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
All right. What do you think your strength is?
Emotional.
What do you think your weakness is?
Being an employee.
What is your biggest fear?
Being an employee.
Name one educational resource that made an impact in building your business. Name a person that made the biggest impact on your life.
Person made the biggest impact. Shoot, that's a good one. I'm trying to go fast here. Let's go. Okay, Marcus.
All right, cool. What was the one question you always wanted to be asked but never did?
Oh man, all right. I don't even know this one. What's your favorite ice cream? I don't know that.
No worries. We'll skip it.
I'm sorry.
Last question. If in 100 years science fails to save us, and all that is left is a book about your life, what would the title and the blurb tell us about Josh Diskin?
He gave his all to help many.
That's great, man. Well, before we say goodbye, it was awesome, man. Before we say goodbye, tell us what you're working on, what you need help with, and how people connect with you.
Yeah, so the new venture that I'm currently working on is the investment fund, and we are working on providing affordable housing to veterans that are exiting active duty, and also creating the Service to Success program, which will be a quote-unquote vet college. And this college will help veterans find employment and receive OJT training from different corporations. So this fund is a culmination of everything that I've wanted to do in my entrepreneurial journey, and everything that I have done before has led up to this fund, and being able to help veterans across the country find their purpose again when they leave active duty, because we're losing too many guys to veteran suicide, and we got too many of our guys on the streets. So I want to lend them a helping hand, and this is the way I can do this in a huge way.
That's super cool. And tell us how people can connect with you if they have any questions or would like to help or just be part of the journey as well.
Yeah, so you can message me on Facebook, Instagram at Joshua Diskin, and also LinkedIn, Joshua Diskin.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm so glad you found time to record this episode. I know it's been quite some time. Josh and I always wanted to connect. Some things was just the timing was not right, but we finally did it. So thanks a lot, man, for coming and sharing your story. I hope story will resonate with some of the people that listen to our show and inspire them to make the necessary steps towards their goals.
Thank you for having me, Eugene, and also thank you for what you're doing, because for everyone listening, it's like, imagine if we all became the best versions of ourselves and we all chased what God put us here to do. I mean, the world would be a much different place. So thank you again, Eugene.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Josh. And I'm sure we'll talk a lot more offline. Cheers.
Definitely, man.
We hope that today's episode has inspired you to take action towards building the life you've always wanted. Don't forget to leave us a review, share, and subscribe to our podcast for more empowering stories, actionable insights, and motivation to help you make the shift towards your own dreams. Thanks again for listening to The Shift.